All right. Welcome to the Drummergy podcast, episode 174, the live and interactive show about life and music. And I have this awesome privilege today to have on my buddy and my mentor, Matt Starr, coming to us live from Connecticut.
Woohoo!
Welcome to the show, Matt.
Morning,
Hello,
guys. What's happening? How's it going?
Now, see, for us, it's 7 a.m., and you're already bright-eyed and bushy-tailed because it's 9 where you
Nice.
are.
I'm awake. I don't know if I don't know about those other things you said, but yeah.
My tail is not bushy till 10.
That's right. That's right. One more
Not bushy
hour.
till coffee, yeah.
Yeah.
You got your coffee, Matt? Are you
No, it's too early.
too early?
Too early, yeah.
You're an
Gotta wake
espresso
up.
guy, right?
I am.
Just the small shot of espresso. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah. Came from going to Europe. I'd go on tour and go to Italy. Oh, yeah, I'll have one. And then you kind of get in the habit while I was like in Europe, but then I'd come home and I would go a couple days and get a headache, and then I would just be done. Like,
Ah,
and then finally one year, I think it was like maybe the year I was with there with Mr. Big, maybe 2014. We're in Europe a bunch, and I came home and it stuck.
there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, we want to get our sponsor thanked right at the top of the show. So the Drummergy podcast is sponsored by 12th Fret Music, the Pacific Northwest's largest inventory of guitars, amps, accessories, vintage instruments. And what else, Mary?
The home of the 64 Marshall cabinet wall.
The largest
Yeah.
guitar amp in the universe. Lives
That's
in Boise,
noteworthy.
Idaho.
It's noteworthy. It's crazy.
That's awesome.
You walk in the door, Matt, and it's just floor to ceiling
Yeah.
from one end of the store to the other.
Yeah.
64 412 Marshall cabinets.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like legit cabinets.
And
They're
they're
not, no dummy cabs.
Yeah. And they're working on getting it set up to actually play something through it. They're working towards that. So
And Guinness might be involved.
yeah, maybe.
Guinness Book of World
Yeah.
Records. So it's
I thought you meant the beer. I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
right? And
Maybe we'll get them there too.
right. We could have Guinness and Guinness. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
The Guinness Book. Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought so. Okay. Well, I could see how that could be confusing. But and drummers, I just talked to Rob the other day, and he has ordered Vader drumsticks and Aquarian drum heads. So they'll be stocking heads and sticks in the store soon.
Nice.
There you go.
Good stuff. Yeah. I gotta get one of those hoodies.
I know, right? Matt and I are both Vader drumstick artists. So maybe we could get get some Matt Starr sticks in the store.
Yeah. Ooh.
We'll make that happen. We'll make that happen.
Talk to Chad.
So, Matt, we're going to get right into it. Matt is not only a drummer that I admire, but he's also somebody that's totally changed the trajectory of my life. And I really want to thank Matt right at the top of the show for that. And Matt, you have an impressive body of work, a lot of artists that you worked for, but that just didn't happen overnight. So playing with Ace Frehley, playing with Mr. Big, playing with George Lynch, Joe Lynn Turner, Gary Hoey, the list goes on. Kicks. And I've gotten to witness most of that as it happened, because I think we met or connected about 12 or 13 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to kind of connect the dots for a few people on our connection. Is that I was down in LA recording a record for a group that was called X Drive that had Keith St. John on vocals. And you had been playing with Keith in a band called Burning Rain with Doug Aldrich and Sean McNabb, I think, was on bass.
Yeah.
And so just like me kind of digging deeper into Keith's career is where I discovered you. And, most people have long flowing hair. And here was this drummer with this freaking righteous mustache. I think your stash was a little different back then. And I was like, this guy's a freaking badass drummer. And he's really cool. And so I just reached out to you and I said, introduce myself. And let you know that I was doing a record with Keith, and we've been in touch ever since. So it wasn't long after that you started your career coaching, Matt. And I want to dig kind of deep into that because it's so relative to everything that I do now. And I want people out there to know kind of what your process was getting those gigs with like Ace and Mr. Big, and then how that experience influenced you to start helping others.
Yeah. Um, well, I get asked the same questions a lot. So I say answer, like, well, if you could give one bit of advice to somebody starting out in the music business, what would it be? And I think the main one is just don't think that there's one piece of advice that's gonna change your life.
Yeah.
That it's a process and you got to be in it for the long haul. Now, that could be a smart ass answer. I could tell you a lot of things and that would be helpful. Sure.
Yeah.
But if there's one thing, it's like, are you in or are you out? Because if you're not sure, then to go do something else.
Yeah.
We're only people here that are lifers. Um, so I think as far as, getting those gigs, when someone says to me like, "How'd you get that gig?" And we always love a good gig story, because some of them
Yeah.
are funny
Yeah.
and some are random and some of them are just like, "Oh, that's it." I mean, usually is who you know, right? But why did so and so get that gig? Because they're the guy, And then, well, why don't they do that gig now anymore? Because they're not the guy.
Mm.
Now, again, this might seem like flippant, but it's like I found if it's your gig, it's your gig to lose. And you have to go out there and make those connections, but when the actual gig surfaces or the opportunity surfaces in your life, it's kind of just don't mess it up. That's all. You don't even have to do something to make it happen.
Yeah.
You just have to show up, and like it's just gonna happen. Again, unless you do something that's screwed up, and there's lots of ways to do that. But
Of course.
yeah, no, I discovered Kiss when I was 8 years old. Saw them in 1979. And 9 years old, I was in fourth grade. And so at that age, I knew immediately like what I wanted to do. And I didn't understand it was a career path or anything like that, or even like I
Yeah.
found my passion. I was just like, this is awesome. And nothing ever has felt as awesome as that. I just talked to a buddy last night, Jurgen Carlson, played with Government Meal for many years, and he's playing Michael Landau and a bunch of different people. And anyway, super talented guy, can do like all kinds of stuff. And we just always end up talking about Kiss, And so that's like the through line. But was playing in bars and had a demo deal with Atlantic at one point with a band I fronted and yada yada yada. But fast forward, I'm like 37 years old, 38. I just realized like I want to play with the people that are actually writing the songs. I don't
Hmm.
want to be in a cover band doing covers of the songs. And then I thought, well, who's doing that? And I thought, I don't know anybody. Personally, I don't know anyone. And that was kind of the wake up call like, wow, I'm 37. I assumed I'd be playing with all these cats. Haven't played with anyone. And I don't know anybody who's played with someone like that. I was like, okay, I gotta I gotta start meeting some people that are doing this for real,
Yeah.
you know? And that was the beginning of it. And I think asking the question like, well, why don't I have a gig like that? Why didn't I get a call for that? That's a great question if you ask it sincerely. Most times when people ask that, they go, well, how come I didn't get
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
that's not helpful. That's like a child. But as an adult, if you can go, why didn't I? What's going on?
Hmm.
Why? How come I'm not getting called for that stuff? How come nobody's hired me for that? How come I'm not doing these opportunities? I can do that. I'm capable of doing what that guy's doing up there.
Yeah.
So how come I'm not doing it? And Love you, buddy. Good night. Or bye. But I told you I wasn't awake. Yeah, but that's a great question to ask, and it always comes back to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not so when someone's like, "Oh, the business," I'm like, "Ah, you're toast. Go see a therapist." Or
Exactly.
another one that people say, and I hate this as a father, and as a married person. Oh my, I had kids, so you know how that goes. And I go, how dare you blame your bullshit on your
Yeah.
children? So let me guess, if you didn't have kids, you'd be playing in U2? Is that what you're saying? It's like, give me a fucking break, man.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like if it's just like, you know what, I had a passion and I just kind of lost my way and life happened and I just really I stopped trying to pursue it and I don't know, it just didn't happen. That would be an honest answer. It's like, okay, cool, that's fine. You can always pick that back up. But yeah, the reason as to why something is happening or not happening is usually uh, me, you. And that's
Yeah.
good news because then you can change that, maybe.
Well, you told me a long time ago, change your mind, change your life.
Yeah.
And that's been kind of my mantra for how long now, Mary?
Well, several years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, uh, did you move to LA in your late 30s or were you already there?
I moved in 2002, so that would have been, again, math.
Sorry.
Mary, help me out. So early 30s,
Okay.
yeah.
That'd be like 24 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got out there and what did a couple things, but ultimately ended up being in a bar band. And so
Yeah.
when people say like, "Oh, I got to move to Nashville," I go, "Well, and do what? The
Playing a
same
bar band.
shit you're doing, in Oklahoma or
Yeah.
in Europe or wherever you live." It's like, become the biggest thing where you are, you know, and then you take that to or you take that to Nashville, or you take that
Yeah.
Boston or whatever, and then it's on. The skill set's got to the skill set for playing, but also like the networking and just having your whole business. Like if you don't know all the most successful cats within a 50-mile radius, like, bumping into them at Starbucks isn't going to help you because
Hmm.
you're just not one of those people that would like make that happen.
Yeah. Yeah. So what was the thing that happened for you that you said, I can't live like this anymore? Like something had to switch in your brain to lead you to where you are now, to lead you to playing with Ace and Mr. Big.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a series of those moments. I guess I always thought that it was going to happen, next week, next month, next year. Oh, then I mean, it's gonna now it's gonna happen now, and I'm like, again, I was in my mid 30s, going, dude, what? You keep saying this. You've been saying this for fucking 15 years,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Like it ain't happening, bro. And not for lack of trying, and not for lack of talent, you know. So it was a series of just kind of awarenesses, and at that point, I was doing this Vegas gig. We had this band in LA, and then we got picked up by this place in Vegas. And I was playing 2 nights a week, Friday and Saturday in Vegas, making all my money for the week. Like it was a good paying gig and it was a thing we had created. It was fun.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want this." And so I was like, well, what's missing? And that was it. Like, I'm not playing with the guys. I'm playing with the cats, just
Yeah.
doing an impression of them. That awareness. And like, I think I averted a midlife crisis too, because like, I'm like, oh, this is what happens. Like men, probably women too, they get almost halfway through their life and they look back and they go, I didn't do shit. I didn't accomplish any of the stuff I wanted to, and it kind of either, go one way or go the other way. I'm like, I'm gonna make sure that I can make that happen.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was that kind of routine of that wasn't fulfilling. And do you think you said it was a good payday, but do you think that was just like I'm just making it to the next month and I'm just making it to the next month and I'm nothing was felt stable?
No, it just wasn't fulfilling, you
Okay.
know? And this is something I talk to my coaching clients about, like, if you're in one place and you want to get to another place, there's nothing wrong with the place you're at. You know, I just started with a guy week, and he's got all this great stuff happening, and I'm like, you could do a coaching course on how to get where you are. Know
Huh.
that,
Yeah.
right? Right? But you want to get to here, okay, I can teach you that, right? But wherever anyone is, I mean, yeah, I was paying my bills playing music 2 nights a week.
Yeah.
Cool. That's great. That's a good accomplishment, but it just wasn't enough. So I kind of probably went through in my head like, am I ungrateful? Am I I should just be happy with what I have? Like all those inner voices, and then again, just getting the clarity of like, no, I don't want this. I want something else. That's it. To like justify, explain it, but also like not have a problem with it, right? So like if someone's making a transition from where they are to where they want to get to not hate the situation you're in. Just go like, this was great. At some point, this was the dream, but now it's not anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I I kind of find myself in that same spot now with all the progress I've made. Like I do have those thoughts in my head, like, can I just be happy with what I have right now? And probably yes, but I still feel like this thing inside of me is like there's still the next thing out there for me that I'm working towards. And it's just been an evolution of that over the past, I don't know, 5, 6 years, right, Mary?
Yeah.
When did
Yeah.
I?
Well, COVID kind of.
Well, yeah. I mean that was for everybody. That was.
But we were working on things during that.
Yeah.
So
we didn't just sit idle.
yeah,
During
we didn't
COVID.
go, oh, COVID.
We were making our plan. That's what we were doing.
Yeah, totally. I remember, like you have those experiences too, where like if you're on something and then you see somebody else who has the same idea, right? So like as soon as COVID happened, I was like, as I realized like, oh, okay, there's a thing that's going on indefinitely.
Yeah.
I started going like, okay, I'm gonna do remote masterclass, right? Because I can't do clinics in person, so I'm gonna do remote. And
Yeah.
then like I reached out to School of Rock and said, hey, I've got this thing, and you got all these kids at home that aren't going anywhere. Like, let's do. And the woman who was the head of the company, she goes, oh, actually, she goes, we're actually in the middle of working on a program for that. She's like, well, we'd love to have you do that. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm on the right page. You know, it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
cool. So yeah, COVID. It's just a pivot. It's always a pivot, man. It's
Yeah.
always an opportunity to just like pivot and not go like, oh, this sucks. Hopefully it ends soon. The
Right.
stupid president. Why didn't they do that? You know, just like own your own life, man. Like stay healthy and just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We haven't gotten to how you got the gig with Ace. So I think that's an
Oh,
important part of the story here.
yeah, not a good guess. Yeah, right. Can you just tell me how you got the gig? So
Everybody's dying to know.
yeah. All right. So basically, I called a bunch of people and was like asking for advice, and I talked to my buddy Alex Grossi, who I had kind of moved out to LA with. He moved out ahead of me, and then I came out shortly after. And he got me the gig with Bang Tango, which was the first thing, and then he started playing with Kevin DeBro, and he got me the gig with Kevin. And and then Alex has been with Quiet Right now for like 20 years or something.
Mhm.
And so asked him because I'm like, well, this guy's quite right, right? Okay,
Yeah.
bang your head, come and feel noise, got it, cool. So I'm like, well, what do you think I should do? And he goes, dude, just play. He goes, if people see you play, you'll get gigs. And I was like, okay, thanks. And I hung up and I go, well, what does that mean? I mean, like, it's a compliment, but what do I do with that?
Yeah.
And so I thought again, like, what the hell does that mean? That's a good question. Think about it. Because when you're talking to somebody, you're talking to the universe, right? So, like, if you sincerely ask a question, and you'll sincerely get the answer. And so I thought, let people see me. And I literally thought like, well, I could set up on Hollywood Boulevard and like busk or whatever. Like, I'm like, okay, I'll do anything. I could. I don't want to do that, but I could. I would, if I had to. All right, what else? And I thought like, oh, open jams, open mics. Let me do that. So I just started going to every open mic, every open jam. And there was one I was going to like up in about an hour north of me. It was like 4 or 5 people there each time. It was nothing really happening, but there was some cats there, and Sean McNabb was one of the guys that would play occasionally, and Jimmy Dand from the Bullet Boys, I saw him play there, and then Brent Woods, guitar player, who is now playing with Gene Simmons. And I played, and he heard me, and he came up, he said, "Hey man, you sound good. What's your name?" And we met. So I got his number. When I heard Ace Frehley, his drummer had quit because he was a bit of putting out press releases. And so then I was like, oh, Ace doesn't have a drummer. So I just called everyone in my phone book from all those months of going to that jam. And Brent goes, oh, yeah, I know Anthony Esposito, the bass player for Ace. He's like, you'd actually be great, dude. You'd be great in that band. And he goes, let me call Anthony. And the jam was so dead. Like that jam was it never got off the ground. It was so dead that I played drums, and then one night they're like, "You don't sing by any chance, do you?" And I was like, I go, "Yeah, I do actually." They're like, "Because we don't have any singers," and I got up and I sang some Zeppelin or whatever. So Brent had seen me sing and play drums, and then when the Ace gig came up and he talked to Anthony, he's like, "Yeah," and then they're like, "Well, we need somebody to sing the Paul Stanley songs because Ace doesn't sing Love Gun," and and he's like, "Oh," he goes, "I saw him sing Zeppelin. He could do that too." So it's just like the way all the pieces fit together was pretty interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you had the gig. Was there like
Pretty
an audition
much.
process to that, or did the guy just say, "Hey, here's your drummer"?
No, no. So I went to New York. I felt really good on the phone talking to Anthony. Like
Yeah.
we had a conversation, talked about everything, and he's like, "Hey," he goes, "I'm getting a good vibe from talking to you." I was like, "Yeah, so am I actually." And I was like, "It's cool." So, and that's one thing too. Like when you have this idea of a big gig, blah blah blah. It's just people.
Yeah.
It's just people. And like he and I were on the phone, and we're around the same age, and we're both from East Coast, and both Kiss was our first show, both of us. Like there was just common ground. So I was like, yeah, dude, yeah, cool. Yeah, all right, yeah. It just felt like good. So anyway, a couple weeks later, I flew to New York. I don't remember the songs I played. I did like 3 or 4 songs, and then they wanted me to sing Love Gun too and play and sing. And then it was just Anthony and Todd Youth at the time, guitar player, no Ace. And we went through the songs, and that was it. Um, and I remember like Todd walked in like a little late, and Todd was like, like tough guy. And I came in, he's like, "Hey dude, how you doing?" He's like, "All right guys, I gotta go to a gig, so let's do this." And he turned up his amp louder than like just on 11, and it was like a foot taller than him to begin with. Um, Cranked it, could barely hear my drums. And there's no mics on the drums, and then played the tunes, and then he was like, "All right, sound good, dude." Walked out. And when he just said anything to me, when I was talking to my buddy the other day, I was talking about playing with Will Lee for the I played with him in New York. And I said in my head, I go, I just want him to say something to me.
Yeah.
Not like, "Hey, you sound good," or "Hey, good playing with you." Like, screw that. I don't want that. I want someone to go, "Dude, the way you just something." And when I
Yeah.
played with Will Lee, we're doing manic depression. He turns around in the middle and he goes, "Yeah, motherfucker." I was like, cool. An acknowledgement. That's all I wanted.
Yeah.
And so, like, from Todd, I grew up on the East Coast. Todd's very New York. So to have him go, "You sound good, dude," and give me a compliment,
Yeah.
I'm like, I think I got it. And about a week and a half, 2 weeks later, I got the phone call, and then I got the set list. It was like Anthony called me, and I was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe it." I go, "This is so great." And he's like, "Yeah, dude, but listen, bro, you got to focus, man. You got a lot of songs to learn." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And he texted me the set list, and I'm like, And I texted to my buddy, and he just writes back, "Screw you! Like that's your set list. That's what you have to learn. Like Shock Me, Parasite, Cold Gin,
Yeah.
all these Kiss tunes." So yeah, pretty good.
All the songs that you probably knew fairly well already.
That you've been playing since a kid.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the first music I ever listened to, it's that.
They were already in your DNA.
Yeah.
They were
Full
already
on.
there. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and then it just exploded from there, your whole career.
Yeah,
Leading to
that
it.
was the start. I mean, that was, and being in LA was good, and because there was all of these. You talk about Keith St. John. Remember, I saw him do a thing called the Music Box or something. It was at the House of Blues, and it was him and Doug Aldridge and probably Tishy, somebody, and Michael Devin, whatever. And I remember just watching and telling my wife, like, that's what I want to play with, those kind of cats,
Right.
because they were like real cats, like
Yeah.
who had backed up, Dio and White Snake and blah blah blah, so. And then, after I got the Ace gig, I heard from Keith, and he was like, "Hey man, you want to do this thing?" And like Matt Starr of Ace Frehley, because it was an all-star band, but you got to have some credit next to you. Now, I wasn't
Yeah.
any different a drummer than I was the day before, but now I was Matt Starr from Ace Frehley,
Right.
in parentheses. And that gave me, in LA, gave me opportunities, to do stuff, to do these events and meet people. And then, yeah, it just went from there, Mr. Big. I don't know how you want to go chronologically, but Mr. Big, and then like met Flex, met Doug Aldridge was probably the first one. Started playing with him, Burning Rain. Played with a band called Love Hate, which is one of my favorite bands.
So, in the process of all of that, Matt, what was the thing that happened that led you to start your coaching business? Because that's been kind of running in parallel with your career, like ever since I met you. And I think
Yes.
around that time, it's been about 10 years or so now that you've been doing that, maybe a little longer.
Yeah.
I got in on
Longer.
the ground floor of that.
Yeah. I was in, like I said, I realized I didn't know anybody who was doing bigger stuff. So I started just networking, and I started reaching out to a bunch of musicians, and some of them were drummers. And once I got the Ace gig and then Mr. Big and then they reached out to me, and they all said the same thing. "Hey, dude, no offense, but I never heard of you before you reached out to me. And now you're doing all these gigs, and you have gigs that are bigger than the ones I'm doing. So what are you doing?"
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because I had asked them, "What did you do?" And they were, helpful. So I started thinking about it, and I was able to articulate, what I had done and what I was doing. And then I had just had lots and lots of people reach out to me, and people would hire me for drum lessons, and then we would just end up talking the whole time about business.
Yeah.
And also too, then I was doing drum clinics, and again, people would ask me like, "How'd you get the gig with so and so?" And there's like just a, if you meet, I don't know, you meet Steve Ferroni, and you say, "How'd you get the gig with Tom Petty?" Like, "Tell me the story." Okay, cool. But then there's people asking like, "How'd you get that gig?" Like, I want to know because I want to get a gig like that.
Yeah.
And that was where I realized, I think I can be of greatest service if I talk about this stuff rather than drumming, because there's everybody's telling you to practice. And honestly, if you're not practicing, that's another thing. It's like, how good do I have to be? You know what? Don't worry about it. Just do
Yeah.
something else. Because like, if you can't tell, if you don't have that inner barometer of like the difference between like, "Hey, you sounded good," and someone saying, "Damn, man, you killed it, bro."
Yeah.
That if you can't tell that difference, I mean, I'll help you, and certainly I'll do lessons when someone's younger and stuff, but
Yeah.
you've got to be able to hear that. You've got to be able to know when something's better than something else, and it's
That's
music, so it's all like art.
Yeah.
There is, certain things are just better.
that's a similar concept I use when I'm teaching with my students too. Is like, most parents are going to be really supportive of their kids playing drums or any music instrument, but I'm like, where do you cross the line from your parents going, oh, that's cute, to like, wow, that's really amazing what you're doing? Like there's a difference in all of that, right?
Completely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big
And I
difference.
think that's the case on a higher level too. Like you could be in a bar band and doing an adequate job, I guess, of recreating music, or you could be in a bar band that's like really on it, and the whole audience is like, "Whoa, there's something different here
Yeah.
with just how these people play."
Yeah, and you can tell, you know what I mean? You or at least hopefully you can tell. You know what I mean? But yeah, it makes a difference. And I think too, like bringing that the intent is a real big part of that too, you know? I mean, you're not gonna
Yeah,
be flashy, you know, it's just the intent, focus, the commitment. Again, Jurgen Carlson, I'll just give him a shout out because I've referenced him 3 times. My buddy that I was talking to last night, but he was talking about playing with Michael Landau and he played with Keith Carlock on drums. And he said, like, he goes, the song came in and he goes, I couldn't find the one.
Oh
And
no.
he goes, and I just put my hand on my bass and Keith heard where when I put my hand on my bass and he could tell I didn't know where a one was. He's like, I didn't start playing. I just kind of just touch the string to get ready. And
yeah,
he goes, he hits a crash on the one just to get me. And he's like, that's the kind of stuff like just forget, oh, I played the song or I played the song without messing up or I did a big drum roll or whatever. Like the listening that you're listening and you can tell like the bass player just went, but that is actually in the wrong spot. I'm
yeah.
gonna just that's the one, buddy. Okay, here we go. You know, like to just be
That
Yeah.
like,
awareness.
yeah, on it like that, you know, so huge. But so anyway, yeah. So yeah, I think the greatest, you know, the most I could bring to any situation would be to talk about the business stuff, to talk about the money, the networking, all that. I love drumming and music and musicianship, but was the greatest value I could provide. So that's I turned my drum clinics into career workshops, and that enabled me to start speaking at music schools and colleges,
Yeah,
done dozens of School of Rock events, conventions, and all kinds of stuff. And then that's in tandem, like with my touring. So I'm going here. I'm going. Okay, I'm going to be here. Where are schools around there? Oh, hey, this Joe Schmo School of Music. Hey guys, what's up? I'm going to be in town on tour. To come talk to your students. So it works. It
yeah,
works with it. You know.
yeah. And I see that I mean, I pay close attention to all your social stuff, and it's 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 always inspiring to me, and it kind of reaffirms that I'm doing the right things because I've followed your advice so closely. I I too kind of grew up. I didn't have the big Kiss influence when I was younger, although on PBS, the public broadcasting network, I remember as being around 9 or 10 years old, they were doing a thing on Kiss. I didn't know what Kiss was. All I saw
Right.
was this huge stage and all these lights and these guys all dressed in black and these huge platform shoes and the way they were kind of marching around the stage. I didn't even know what I was looking at. Just this kid. And my mom had a pair of black boots that like came up to her knees and like high
Hmm.
heels on them. And after I watched that, I put those boots on and I found like this cape and I'm marching around the house like
Exactly.
imitating Gene Simmons. And I didn't know what it was, but I thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. And
Right.
shortly after I started playing drums, but I didn't like I don't know, there was something that they had that had that influence on all of us. But you know, I played in original bands and we would have these little peaks of success. My band had got a record deal with an indie label, but we had distribution through Warner Brothers and all of this stuff that just never was sustaining. And I was really frustrated and I started my own landscaping business and kind of going back to what you said at the very beginning, like some people use that excuse of, well, I didn't do it because I have kids and I have a wife and all of this kind of stuff, and which I did. And but I was miserable, Matt. I was completely miserable with my life. And that's like when we met. and I connected with you, and we did a coaching session during the week of NAMM, and I think that was in 2019, I believe. Was that right, Mary?
Yeah.
And you and I got together at a coffee shop, and I know on the plane ride there, I filled out pages of questions I wanted to ask you. And I remember like sitting down at the table with you, and I had all of this stuff, and you just kind of pushed it aside, and you said, "What do you want to do?" Like, I don't care about all this book that you wrote, right? And I told you I was teaching drum lessons, and I built my own studio. And you said the most important thing was like make teaching your number one thing, like get that squared away, because when these guys are out there and they're touring, when they get home, they've got something else that they do. Like they have multiple streams of income, right?
Right.
And so you said make teaching your number one thing, like that's your first step. And I was like, it's that easy? Like, not that it's easy, but like it's that simple.
Simple, yeah.
Simple, yeah.
And
the answer is always simple. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've learned that. I forget that too, but
well, I remember before he went down there, I remember us having a conversation about him being a full-time drummer, and I said, other people do it. Like, how come this person gets to do it, and how come that person gets to do it, but you don't get to do it? Like, there's no reason why they get to do it and you don't. So you just got to figure out how to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
well,
it's a good voice.
I was led to believe that I didn't make it because I didn't live in Nashville, or I didn't make it because I didn't live in LA, or just like my geography was bad, like that was what was against me. Or and then I thought, are there enough people in Boise, Idaho that want to take drum lessons and want to take drum lessons from me? And it turns out, yes,
I know
that is the case.
Right.
And I was so miserable in my job, Matt. I was just like, it was just constant depression for me. And once I sat down with you and you said, do this, I was like, I'm going to do exactly what he said, because the proof was in how you were living your life. And
right.
So, I mean, you talk to a lot of people, a lot of clients that you've helped along the way. So I don't know if you'd remember this, but did you have any inclination that the advice that you gave that to me then would have that big of an impact on me?
I can always tell if somebody's organized, and just by like what the questions they are asking, and also like how receptive they are to what I'm saying. So if I say something, they ask like, okay, well, here's the thing. I just want to know this. Say something, and I go da 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 da, and they go, yeah, but and I'm like, you didn't hear what I just said, and it doesn't bother me, but you can tell when somebody's listening.
Yeah.
And so you were listening, and you go, okay.
Did they say
then
the problem is? But the problem is,
they just keep running their tape. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if someone is not listening, they're not responding to what you're saying. They just want someone to hear them, and that's fine. You could pay me to hear you. That's fine. But then in the end, we're gonna move this thing forward. So, but I suspected. I'm like, oh, I'd be curious to see what this guy does, because he's like got it on the ball, and you already had, you had started different businesses, you had your teaching and stuff. So I was like, okay, yeah, this is like you're already doing the stuff. It's just like getting clear and doing it.
Yeah,
more.
Exactly. Getting clear on that. And I remember like, because like you said earlier, when COVID happened, you did like some online master classes, and and I participated in a handful of those, and there would be like 10 or 12 people in like a Zoom call. And even some of those people, I was really blown away that like they were all saying the exact same thing you just said a moment ago. Like, yeah, but do these things. Yeah, but like, do you really want to move forward or not? Like, that just kind of blew my mind. The resistance that people have.
Yeah, and some days I have it, and someone will say something, answer a question or whatever, and then I go, yeah, but the thing is, and it's like, just it's okay. I mean, I can have a conversation with somebody, but yeah, it's just a barometer of like where I'm at. But the willingness is key, and that's the thing. Like, if someone has a gig and they don't like the gig, and so then they're mad at the gig and they're fighting with the gig or literally with the people in the gig or whatever, like, you're either open or you're not.
Yeah.
And it's not like, well, again, back to like, well, you don't understand the guy who runs this band, he's a da da. It's like, hey man, it's your life. Show up with gratitude and be yes, or you can show up and be combative and be no. But like, if you're stuck, you're stuck. And that
Yeah,
usually ends up permeating other areas
exactly.
of your life.
I wouldn't be doing my job here right now if I didn't catch up on a couple comments, Matt. James Harrison is here. He said you should do a clinic or a talk at PASIC.
Yeah, tell them, James, because I was scheduled to do one 2021, when I was with Ace and we were opening for Alice Cooper, and I was booked, and then it didn't work out. I was going to be too. I had a day off, but it was going to be too tight with my flights and everything. And they were actually the woman I was talking to at the time was really helpful. And I haven't been able to get back in. I feel like I maybe lost my contact. So if anyone knows anyone at PASIC, yeah, I'd love to speak because I think there's something very unique about what I'm doing.
James should have a couple inroads with that. James, message me or message Matt if you got a solution there. I might know a couple people as well, Matt, to
Thanks. Yeah, yeah,
point
thank
you in
you.
that direction. But I think just what you have to offer is so valuable, and I want people to like feel how I feel. And Jamie Vink is here. He said Jamie is one of those. Fred turned me on to you about a year ago, and I love your advice. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks, Fred.
Yeah, man. Uh, I want to talk about networking a little bit, Matt. What is networking really, and how important is it to a musician's career?
Networking is, you know, the dictionary definition would be like developing relationships that are mutually beneficial. That sounds gross, but that's what it is. And how important is it? It's everything. It's everything. How many cats are out there that have gigs that are like they're okay, but they got this great gig. And then how many cats are amazing musicians and they have no gigs, you know?
Yeah,
It's the network, it's who you know. And I remember hearing that like when I was younger, like, oh, it's who you know. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And I thought that's sounded gross to me. That sounded like lame, cheesy, hey, it's who you know, baby. Like one of those things. But it is who you know. That
yeah,
doesn't mean you don't have any talent. That doesn't mean you didn't deserve the opportunity. But it's absolutely who you know. Right?
yeah.
Because if I want to get a job at the UPS, my next door neighbor works at UPS, I have a better chance than you
Right,
at this moment that getting that job because I know a guy. Like. And the
right.
same thing with music. And the other thing too I would add is like someone might be a musician and know a bunch of musicians and know a bunch of really good musicians, but what are they doing? And I always say, you know somebody who's doing what you want to be doing at the level you want to be doing it. That's the important part because you might know an amazing drummer who's just as stuck as you are,
Hmm.
and that's not going to get you anywhere.
Yeah,
It's about that are doing what you want to be doing at the level you want to be doing it.
yeah.
Because that's the
Exactly.
only person, that's literally the only person that can offer you a gig,
Is somebody
right?
who's
So
already
I
there.
can't offer you a gig at Coca-Cola because I don't work there. I don't know anybody there. I have no connection.
Yeah,
But if I'm playing with, let's say, whatever, like when Ace was alive and we needed a bass player, he was like, "Hey man, well, we gotta get a guy for Phil because he's going on the road with Accept. What do you think? Who should we get?" And we talked.
yeah,
I could have offer, been instrumental in offering somebody a gig with Ace because I was in the band. The only person that can offer you a next level gig is someone who already has. So if you don't know anyone who has one already, you are not going to get offered one. Well, you never know. I could get discovered by who? Someone who already has a next level gig. And if that's your plan to be discovered,
Yeah.
and have fun with that and playing the lottery to get rich and all these other things. But if you really want to do the work, it's easier than ever because we have, the internet. I mean, where are you? Where am I? We're sitting here talking.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
easy to connect with people.
Well, it's an interesting thing about networking because I don't think people realize it or understand. Like most people, wherever they are in their music career, they got there by knowing somebody, right?
Always. Of
They're
course.
the group of people that they play in their band with, and maybe the venues that they play are all directly connected to who they know. They just
100%.
don't, they just don't know somebody on the next thing that people claim they want to be at. So, um, talking about musicians being stuck, uh, why do most people not break through that barrier, Matt?
Too uncomfortable.
It's too uncomfortable.
Yeah. I mean, for me, the discomfort of being stuck was way worse than whatever I had to walk through,
Yeah,
you know? But I think for most people, it's just the opposite, you know?
yeah.
Yeah. Just too uncomfortable because again, you don't you don't have to change the world, you just have to change yourself. And I'm like, yeah, do that.
Well, I mean, it's just like you told me, change your mind, change your life.
Yeah.
And I feel like you told that directly to me when we sat down, but you've said it so many times over the years through your videos you do on social media and things that you've posted. Uh, that was just like the one thing that really resonated with me so often. And yeah, I too went through those moments, and I still do sometimes where something's really uncomfortable. But once you kind of step over that line into that other world, you realize, like, what was I worried about? There's nothing. Just like you
It's
said, it's
never as
just
bad
people.
as you think,
No,
yeah, or facing things, or if you gotta have a tough conversation with somebody, it's never as bad as you think it's gonna be, you
right?
know?
Yeah, and it's it's just like I prefer that. Like I feel like the more I get out of my comfort zone, the larger my comfort zone becomes, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like I want to bring up a post. Speaking about your posts, this happened a while back.
Oh, no. Yeah.
That this got a lot of attention when you made a post about the dishwashers of the music business.
Right. Which I
Can
thought
you?
the dishwasher association should have been more offended than the musicians were, but
It was now when I saw. Has that been like a year ago? Maybe I don't know. I lose track of time a little bit,
right.
but
I was on tour with Gary Hoey. I think it was like 2 years ago, and I was coming out of the hotel going to sound check. And I
uh
had an idea, and I just was like, blah, 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 blah. Boop, posted, and then it just like, yeah, just kept going.
I thought it was. I understood what you meant immediately reading that, but for those that haven't seen it, can you expand on that a little bit, Matt?
Apparently not, because no, so many people misunderstood what I was saying. So I was, I think about these things because I think about challenges that people face, and I think about how can I explain this in a way that they go, "Oh, okay, got it." And I would see all these posts, and I would talk about money, and they'd say these club owners, they don't want to pay, and all they're offering is $500 for the whole band, and da da da. And I thought about it, and I just was like, well, that's all that gig can hold, though. Like
Yeah,
that person just wants entertainment, and man, you better not hope that they figure out how easy a DJ would be.
Right.
because then, it's like, wait, I could pay like half or less than half, and like people would be, just as happy. So anyway, I thought about that push, and I go, oh well, you're in a that's an entry level gig. So you're
Yeah.
getting mad at the club for only paying you guys 125 a piece, but that gig's never going to pay more than that. Joe's Bar and Grill, again, you're lucky that they still have bands. You know what I mean? Like that's an entry level gig. Get a bigger gig. Don't get mad at the gig though.
Yeah.
That's like being a dishwasher. That's an entry level gig, and then if you want to be a cook one day, like you got to make that happen. You got to get like into that position. So
Right.
that's what I said. Cover bands are the dishwashers of the music industry, which is a great. When I thought of that, I was like, "Ooh, that's gnarly," and I'm like, "That's good." And then I'll explain it, and it's cool. And I'm not a
It,
bad guy, so they'll get it. Well, they didn't get it. Most people didn't get it, and yeah, it ignited this whole thing. But a lot of good stuff came out of it. I
it
met
did. It
Jason
was,
Bonham. Met Jason Bonham through it. Met Rick Beato through it.
yeah. That
You know.
I did you even imagine it would have that kind of a response? Did you feel like when you hit post, like, oh, this is gonna I'm swatting at the wasp nest now with a stick.
No, not at all, because I've had other titles or concepts for posts that I
Hmm.
thought were really good too. And sometimes they do well, and then sometimes ones that I'm not even really thinking of, they do well. So you never know. So no, I wasn't like, oh, this is going to be a thing. And again, it went like it's probably close to 1 million at this point. So, and for me, that's a lot of views. So no, I didn't think that. And the thing about that is like I think like maybe like 10,000 or maybe 6, 7,000. Like most of my
Uh-oh. We lost Matt temporarily. We'll see if his maybe his battery died. We'll see. We are having a great discussion with Matt Starr as he scrambles to plug his phone back in. I'm guessing that's what happened. Uh, if you guys got any questions or comments for Matt, go ahead and pop those in there, and we'll try to get to those as we come back around. We're going to remind everybody the show is sponsored by 12th Fret Music, located at 671 South Capitol Boulevard in downtown Boise, Idaho. And
my
Matt has
mom called.
your
How,
mom called.
how cute is that?
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
That we're gonna come back to the dishwasher in a second, but I remember you were visiting and you were at your parents' house and you were doing one of these shows and your mom showed up and she's bringing groceries in.
Oh, like on a Facebook Live. Yeah, right.
Yeah. And she's like, it'd be great if you helped me bring the groceries in.
Right.
Forever the mom, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Get to work, son.
Yeah.
All right. So we were talking about the dishwasher world and meeting Jason Bonham through that or connecting with him and Rick Beato. Did Rick Beato do a show about your post? Or do you know?
No, was so basically what I was saying is like, my post will get, maybe 1,500, maybe 10,000, maybe 20,000, 30,000, depends, right? But once they get up over like 10,000, I start getting these wacky comments. Like, so if
Yeah.
I have like 20,000 followers, 23 or something like that. So if there's like about 10,000 people that watch the video, those are probably mostly my people, like people that follow me anyway.
Yeah.
But then I think the algorithm then once it gets to a certain point, then it puts it out to bigger audiences that aren't your audience.
Right.
And that's when I get these stupid ass comments from people. And just yeah, just stupid stuff. So with this thing, it just went crazy. And I think, obviously I hit a nerve because there's a lot of guys and women too, but mostly guys are the angry ones that are stuck doing those gigs that are fine, but they don't want to do those gigs. and that my posts, they felt like I was saying something about them, which indirectly I am, but that's for them to deal with, not me.
Yeah.
So, but getting all these comments, I realized like, wow, this is a whole other level. And like, I got to learn how to deal with this because I don't like people being mad at me.
Hmm.
I don't want people to be mad at me.
Yeah.
And so it was really uncomfortable. And so a friend of mine, Alan, who's actually my accountant, is friends with Rick Beato. I'm like, so to my point, what I said earlier in the show, I'm like, I need to talk to somebody who's already down this road, who's more experienced than me. Who can I talk to? And so Warren Huart was the first person that popped into my head, and Rick Beato. So I asked him, I said, could you connect me with Rick? Because I got this post that went, for me viral, and
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, sure. And so I had a conversation. Rick was really generous with his time, and we had a really good conversation about it.
What advice did he pass on to you about dealing with the negative or angry comments on social media?
He said, who cares? What do you care?
Oh,
Did you say what you meant to say? I go, yeah. He goes, don't worry about it. I was
yeah.
like, and again, like we talked about before, the solution is simple. I was like,
Yeah.
oh. And I go, do you read the comments? And he's like, sometimes. He goes, but I don't really have time. I'm so busy.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, yeah. So he just was like, you know, and the funny thing, he's like, hey, Alan, told me about your situation. And he goes, can you send me the clip? So I texted him and he watched it and he goes, okay, hang on, I'm just gonna watch this. It was like, a minute, less than a minute.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay. He goes, yeah, that looks good. That makes sense to me. What? And then he goes, oh, wait, I see you did a rebuttal or a response to all the kind. He goes, I wouldn't have done that. And
Mm.
I was like, really? He goes, yeah, look, he goes, just say what you say and move on.
Yeah.
So
It's that
again,
yeah.
yeah, and again, it was that simple. And it's not that he didn't care, you know what I mean? He just was like, keep going,
Yeah.
keep going.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting because I understood what you meant when you posted it immediately, but at the same time, I'm like, this is really going to strike a nerve with those people who are stuck in that cul-de-sac of those kind of gigs. And like you said, like you can't blame the gig is what the gig is, right? So if you want to move out of that, you got to move to the next level of thing. That's how I
Yeah.
felt with my life. Like I felt like my life was stuck, and I couldn't blame the wife. I can't blame the kids. I can't blame that I have a mortgage. I can look at myself in the mirror and go, who needs to change? I've got to change. I've got to course correct on this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like when you said make teaching your number one thing, I got super serious about that. And very Mary and I got very meticulous in our approach to how we were going to do that and just did it. And I knew, and this is at like my old rate. I've had like 4 or 5 rate increases since then,
Great.
but
I love it.
I was like, I have to have 40 students minimum at $80 a month or whatever I was charging at that point to completely leave my other job. And I had like 36 students, and I talked to you, and I said, I'm like 4 students away, and you said, just quit your job, just step over, and that meant a lot to me. It was like you said, if you make more time available to do this, then those spots are going to fill up, and that's exactly what happened.
Mm.
Like the more I made room in my life for what I wanted, the more of what I wanted started to come into my life. It was such
Yeah,
a
there's
huge
got to be space, and I get this question a lot, like, should I just quit my job? And I'm like, well, what else are you doing? Like, if you just quit your job and think that now magically you're going to get the gigs you want, no,
yeah,
the universe doesn't work like that. But yeah, you were so close. You were putting in so much time, so much, it was already happening.
yeah,
So what I tell people is like, the busiest you're ever going to be is when you have your career, your day gig, we'll call it, and
mhm,
then what you want to do, and you're doing both. That's the busiest.
yeah.
right? Because you got your head in two worlds, right? And but you want to create so much work, so much opportunity, so much money, so much everything in your music world that you just don't have time for the regular gig.
Yep.
And then you go like, "Oh, I guess I can just let it go." You know?
Which felt so good.
I
Which
would imagine haven't had a job in many years, but I would imagine it feels pretty damn good. And it's not like screw you, I'm out of here. It's like I'm gonna go do what I want to do now.
well, I believe that everybody's given a God-given gift, and I think it's our responsibility to use that gift that was given to us.
Right.
And if we're not doing that, we're not honoring that gift. That's what I've
Right.
come to believe in that. Uh, catch up on a couple comments and some questions for you, Matt. Jamie Vink says, "How do you put a price point on your services?"
Well, I have a whole process for that. I wrote an article for Music Connection magazine in LA back up 10 years ago, and then that's like the basis for what I teach in my course too. But um you got to just do it. First of all, you got to be willing to ask for money.
Yeah,
We'll start there. But the shortest thing I would say is pick three people that are already doing it at the level you want to be doing it, and talk to them about how they set their rates.
there you go, Jamie. And I've got a ticker going across the bottom of the screen that says mattstarcoaching.com. And Jamie, I think having a conversation with Matt would probably be very beneficial. Jeff Senega says, such a great perspective when you get a chance to play a new gig. What do you decide is worth your effort or level to accepting doing that gig? Is it money, fun, notoriety, or all the above?
Yeah, all of it, all factors in.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it all factors in. But if there's a notoriety thing and then it's not attached to the money part, I would be suspicious of that. Might be something I want to do. Like, oh man, I love that. Like, certain bands, you might love and go, oh, that means a lot to me. Everyone might not know who they are, but to me, it means a lot. So that would be like a meaningful thing, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Tom Keithley's here from War Torn.
But I just want to circle back though, because I
Yeah.
feel like that question is that person's looking, not him that who asked it, but just in general, they're looking for a reason to charge less. Oh, so if it's fun, I can charge less. And I'm like, nah, get a rate, quote it. That's it. Stop fucking around. So like I think I'm assuming that that person asked that question just the way it sounded like, hey, how do you choose gigs? But
Yeah.
a lot of times people will hear that answer and go, oh, so if it's fun, notoriety. Well, yeah, notoriety would, Big Chuck, Big Chuck, the bass player. Like everyone knows Chuck. Like that's not notoriety. I'm thinking like, playing with Slash. That's notoriety.
Yeah.
Right? So like, but they'll use any excuse to charge less money or to not get paid. So I just want to put that caveat in there. Like, actually, I take all that back. Just have your rate and quote your rate, and that's it.
I think you and I talked on the phone recently, like how important it is to have your rate.
Yeah.
At least you have like some firm ground you're starting from. And then we can decide going forward if you want to negotiate something depending on what it is and who it's for or what the outcome of whatever it is you're doing might be. But at least you have a starting point. If you have zero starting point, then you're just throwing darts in the dark all the time.
If you don't have a rate, you don't have a business.
Ah, right there. Did you hear that, ladies and gentlemen? If you don't have a rate, you don't have a business.
Yeah. Oh, hey man, yeah, what do you do? Oh, I do landscaping and I got a bunch of guys that mow lawns. Oh, cool. What do you charge to mow a lawn? Well, where do you live? What's that? How big is the house? Oh, it's that. Boom. Yeah, it'd be this much. Not, well, bro, I want to work with your budget, man. So you let me know. And like, it's all cool. I mean, I'm into the opportunity for the exposure. Like that, you know what I mean? Like if you
Yeah.
went in Dunkin' Donuts and they didn't give you a straight answer as far as how much a dozen donuts are, you'd probably just drive away.
Yeah.
You're like, what do you mean? So yeah, no, you got to have a rate. And I saw a comment recently too. Someone said like, they don't ask you your rate; they just tell you what the gig pays. And I'm like, yeah, when you're working in a bar, 3 sets of covers, yes. But when I got the gig with Mr. Big, Tim, their manager, sent me an email and said, "Hey, congratulations. What's your rate?" And that was the first time anyone ever asked me that,
Hmm.
right? But like, yeah, when you get bigger opportunities, and everyone since has asked my rate, but like when you get bigger opportunities, your rate, you
Yeah.
know, that's the question. So a lot of times too, when someone answers something like to a comments on one of my posts or whatever, they're revealing where they're at. And that's okay too, you know what I mean? But like to say like, oh, they just tell you how much the gig pays, and it's like, no, you know,
Right.
your buddy texts you, "Hey man, can you play George's Bar and Grill on Friday night? Pays 100 a guy plus tips." Okay, yeah, that is, but not what I'm talking about, and not where I think most people would like to be. So
Yeah.
yeah, you gotta have a rate. You gotta
That's the
rate.
same for like, because I, in addition to teaching, which was like your step number one for me, was I have this thing built out in my house to have a studio, and I've got this tracking room for drums, and I've got a control room over there, and I I turned Mary into a recording engineer,
Mhm.
and so the
Nice.
two of us have this thing, and so I spend a lot of my mornings tracking drums for people all over, and they'll message me and say, "Hey, have a song. Would you be into playing on it? What's your rate?"
Right.
And I get right back to them and I tell them what it's going to cost. And usually, like, the shorter the conversation, the more I know it's going to happen.
Right.
Like,
Completely.
if somebody sends me this long email, like, "I saw you play, I really like your drumming, I've admired you," like all of this kind of fluff that's attached to it, it's kind of like, I don't think those usually don't happen.
Right. And then when yeah, those, those don't happen. And then what follows is them sending you links to their thing, man. Like, hey, check
Yeah.
out my new video or whatever. And it's like, yeah. But yeah, if someone's serious, you'll find out right away, you know.
Yeah, they're
And,
just
and you got to have a rate though. That's the thing.
yeah,
And what I find too with my coaching clients is when they don't have a rate, or if they're just in confusion, they get goofy clients. And then they get their head together and they get better clients.
yeah,
Like, oh, I had like three, because sometimes someone would be like, yeah, I had three people reach out, from my post saying they want me to play, but then when I asked them about the thing, they didn't have any money, and then they said they get back. I go, okay, but that's fine. You're starting, but you're getting your head together. So the more you get your head together and clarity, that's going to determine what happens.
yeah, absolutely. Uh, Jamie Vink wants to know, what is the number one thing you do on the road to stay healthy and sharp?
Cigars? I don't know. Um, I don't drink, and I don't eat sugar. So
Okay.
I would say those two things. What do I do to stay healthy? Not not much, but I think my life is generally pretty healthy. The food is a huge thing. Food and sleep and water.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I smoke cigars, and it's kind of my only vice, really.
yeah. Not
Yeah,
drinking is I've never been a drinker myself, really, and it just disagrees with me. So it's an easy choice to say, nah, I'm out.
yeah.
I'm out. Um, what do gigs with major artists look like behind the scenes, Matt?
Well, it's always different. Every camp is different. You know, Mm, think about some of the stuff Ace would do. He would always be like, "I need my robe." Like, so when he would finish, he'd come out, and then they'd put a robe on him. And like that's something from the Kiss days, that they always did that. Right? But he still did that, 40 years later. And it's like I've seen that in all kinds of different ways, how they do business, all different ways of just how organizations are run. So they're all different.
Yeah.
They're all different. They're all unique. But it's just about having a good attitude. And you see a text and like, how's it going? They're like, best day ever. Great day for rock and roll. Great day to be alive. Yeah, buddy. I'm great. How are you? Like that's what you hear. You don't hear, well, this morning I no. Us. Like no, people are asking you how you're doing, but they don't actually care. They don't the answer. Like
Yeah.
it's not a time for a real conversation. You can have a real conversation. Like, so yeah, people are just there to serve the gig and do the thing, So like a lot of positive energy, and the bigger the gig, like the less work you do. I mean, at some point, I haven't had a gig like this. I every band, there's some big artists that still sound check, but like, everybody's different, but there's some gigs like there's no sound check. You just show up.
Yeah.
Everything's set up and your tech's got it dialed 100% and you just step on stage and play, you know?
I've had a I've played with Brandon Fields twice now, doing the Guns N' Roses tribute thing.
Hmm.
Once was the beginning of November. I got a message, and I had never met him before. Just through Facebook and through a connection with you is how I knew Brandon, because you did that record with him, the Minefield record.
Right.
And so I got a message about 8 days before the show and said, "Hey, I'm in a pinch. I need a drummer. Can you learn the entire Appetite for Destruction record and like 4 or 5 other songs?" That he sent me the lesson. And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll do it." Once we agreed upon what it was going to pay and how I was going to
Right.
be taken care of and all that. But I had to learn all these, and that's when Chips Enough was playing bass with them, and Alex Kane was on guitar.
Hmm.
And
Awesome.
I wanted to be really respectful of their time, because these guys know these songs and they play them multiple times a week or whatever their situation is. And we got there and we did have a sound check, but I didn't want to make that a rehearsal for them. So I wanted to make sure I was prepared enough in advance. And the singer wasn't even there for the sound check. So Brandon sang, I think we played Mr. Brownstone. I just started right in with that tom groove. We played the song. Chip walked over to me and goes, "That's how a rhythm section is supposed to work." And then Alex said, "Is there anything else you want to go over?" And I said, "I don't think so. I think I know these songs as well as I'm going to know them how to play tonight." And he goes, "That's exactly what I wanted to hear." Because those guys are wiped out from traveling. They don't want to
Right.
spend a couple hours rehearsing.
Right.
So that was the case. And then I played again with him a week and a half ago. Totally different people in the band. No sound check. Just a quick line check and go. And have to play and perform like we were a cohesive unit. And that's like going back to our conversation when we started this whole thing, is like being aware and listening, and the drummer realizing the bass player didn't know where one was and he gives that crash, like everybody's just really listening. And it's just like that whole nother level of operating and being ready to go. It's so awesome.
Yeah. And I think, it's about thinking about the other people, you know what I mean? Thinking about the other people and thinking about the gig, especially as a drummer, I'm really
Yeah.
always have to look and make sure no one's like I see the backs of people a lot of times to make sure I don't see anybody like this because that means
Uh-huh.
they're tuning. I
Right.
can just see that out of the corner of my eye, like that arm extended thing, and I'm
Mhm.
like, no, wait, you know,
Yeah.
start the song because somebody's tuning, somebody's not ready, you know.
Yeah.
Man, and some of the crazy gigs like playing with Bang Tango with Joe Liste, it was like, just character. You didn't know if he was gonna make it to the show. You didn't know if he was gonna make it to the mic, right? So like the song would have an arrangement, but is he gonna sing on this one? Doesn't know. I'm gonna make a call that he's not, so I'm not gonna do a fill. Nope, he didn't. here he goes, digga, 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 bush. Like, hey, everybody, this is the verse. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so, like, those gigs are really helpful. And one of my favorite gigs I ever did was with Michael DeBar's. And Michael was just, I brought my buddy Eric in to play guitar. And he goes, after the first, we did a little rehearsal. And he's out there like with his head in his hands. I go to Eric, I go, what's wrong? He goes, "No, I mean, Michael says like, okay, we're gonna do one chorus and then another verse and then a double chorus and the thing, and then he just like does something completely different. And I like, am I messing up? And I go, no, that's what Michael does. And he's like, yeah, but what? I go, you think you're messing up. The gig is you watch him,
Yeah.
and Michael knows what he's doing.
Right.
But he may say he's going to do something and then he doesn't do it because in the moment he changes his mind instinctively because this would be better or this would be more exciting or yeah, and then we'll play this 3 times. Well, if he goes out in the audience, you play it 25 times. So like those were some of my favorite gigs. I had to really keep on my toes. But as a drummer, I would tell everybody, you watch me, I'll watch Michael.
Yeah.
You know. And those gigs were a lot of fun, but that's the responsibility that I think, we have as drummers.
Well, we're sitting. We have the view generally of the whole band, and you can really read everybody's body language on when something's going to happen. And just like you said, you
Right,
see the arm extended out. Oh, he's tuning. I'm probably not going to count this off yet. Like just
right.
being aware of what's going on around you, and you can feel the energy change too when you know something's about to happen. And
Yeah, completely. I was just thinking of, with Ace, he would say some intro and then he'd go, shock me. And I go boom, boom, boom. And he'd be like, and he got into this thing. I don't know why the hell he started doing it. It was like the last couple of years I played with him, where Rocco would bring out his smoker with the 3 pickups because he's gonna do a solo. And I guess he was testing it, but he'd like give away the gimmick right before
oh
like the song would start. He'd be, psh, yeah. But then the toggle switch would be in the wrong position. So he'd go shock me. I go boom, da da, doom, doom, down, and that. Like he wouldn't come in on the one because
oh
he was screwing around with the guitar. And this happened 1 show, 2 shows, 3, 4, 5. I go, oh, I guess this is a thing now. He's messing with the smoke thing. So I'd have to wait, and he'd go shock me. Dude, I'd wait this one breath,
yeah
which to me was like nails on a blackboard because I want it to be shock me, boom,
yeah yeah
but I have to wait this 1 second, literally 1 second, so that when he starts the song, he'll actually start it on the one and not be like trying to get caught up. So those are those little things.
where you
And
had to
it
make
makes me
yeah
look bad if I'm watching. I'm like, again, it felt like an attorney. It's literally shock me. Doom, did it. It's that long. It's not
yeah
long, but it feels like it feels so long. And that could be like, well, why are you waiting? Why aren't you? And I would tell him, well, because you're not hitting the first chord. So, but he never said anything to me. But like, yeah, I'm gonna do what needs to be done to make sure this whole thing. And I don't
yeah
care how I look. So I'll
right.
be like, oh, that drummer didn't come right in after he said shock. It's okay.
Well, it
I gotta
became
take care of
obvious
my
to
guys.
you that you just needed to wait 1 second longer to start it.
Right.
Chip Ritter's here. He says, "Hi, Fred, Rock, and Matt."
What's up, Chip?
Chip Rock. That's what I call him now.
There you go.
Matt, how important is it, or is it necessary for people to live where the action is? Is that relative anymore?
It helps. It certainly helps, but if you're not going to do the right things, it doesn't matter where you live. So there's plenty of people living in LA and Nashville that aren't doing anything, have
Yeah.
access to all that stuff, and they're just not taking the right action. And there's people that live wherever they live, and they've got great gigs and they're doing all kinds of work. So it helps, but if you're not going to do the right stuff, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you once said, all I need is the internet and an airport.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I just need my phone.
Yeah.
Like all my work's in there,
Yeah.
and then yeah, how do I get to an airport? Let me go fly to the gig.
Yeah. I think we live in that world now where everything's just like you said, it's just right here at our fingertips, right? Everything that we need
Right,
to do is right here. And through the magic of like a platform like we're on right now, where you and I can sit down and have a conversation and be completely across the country from one another.
right,
That's it's a really great thing. And I think one thing that you do is remote drum tracking,
right.
and you seem to be very busy doing that. We talked about that briefly before we went live. Uh, Obviously, you have a resume that I'm sure helps carry some weight in securing work like that. But when did that all start for you on remote drum tracking?
Um, Probably like 10 years ago or maybe more. I had these guys from South America that wanted me to play on their songs, and they were going to come to LA. And then like their trip got canceled for whatever reason, and they were like, and they're like, could you record it there, like just without us? And I was like, oh yeah, well, duh.
Yeah,
Why didn't I ever think of that? So then it's like, yeah, remote tracking. So I mean, nowadays it's rare when the artist is actually in the studio with me.
yeah,
Most times I'm in there with my engineer, and that's it.
yeah. I think it's
Yeah.
I've been doing that quite a bit myself for the last few years, and I like you, like sometimes you never even meet these people that hire you.
I Yeah,
They
exactly.
and it's pretty cool for me. Like I have this facility here at the house, so I just walk out here and everything's mic'd up and ready to go and do a little bit of tuning, and Mary will make sure everything's hitting the meters correctly, and away we go. And it's
Yeah, I mean, the fact that you can do that for people all around the world, that's just
yeah,
amazing,
it
you
is.
know? And so, yeah, when I talk to somebody and they're like, well, there's not a lot of studios around here, or like about lessons, they're like, well, there's not a lot of people around here. I go, what do you mean around here, man? Like your phone, you have access to the whole world,
Right. Yeah.
you know? I mean, I have coaching clients and, all around the country and Australia. And then it just to the drum track. I just did a track for I think his last name is Thompson, with Doug Pinnick actually, and
Oh,
from
cool.
King's X.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but he's in Germany,
Yeah.
and record for people in Sweden, and it's all over the place, all over the world. So it's great. It's great that you can
Yeah.
connect and give that to somebody, and to the point of like, if you wanted a cat that is, like a certain level, unless you live in one of those cities,
Yeah.
you're not going to have access to them because that person isn't living in, you know, Sheboygan. I mean, maybe they are, but right, like just like,
Yeah.
because if someone's actually that good, they're going to get out. They're going to end up somewhere else,
Yeah.
doing something else and not be available. So, like the fact that you could just message Billy Sheehan or Greg Bissonette or Thomas Lang or whoever, whatever, me, Fred, whatever, like you can have access to that. It's amazing,
Yeah. Yeah. It is. Uh, I do have I don't, I want to ask this question, but I also don't want to forget Chip has a question too. Um, you had mentioned several years ago about, I think it was a client you had that was going to be writing a book. I think I'm paraphrasing completely because I'm trying to remember exactly the situation, but I think you told him to reach out to 3 or 5 different drummers.
Oh yeah.
And uh, I think one of them was Kenny Aronoff, and I don't know if you named who the others were, but I think if I remember correctly, like Kenny would be like the highest ranking drummer that he was reaching out to, or probably had the biggest resume, and probably the busiest guy, Kenny. And Kenny was one of the guys that responded to him like so quickly, and then the others responded, but they were much slower in the response, and maybe the further down the list, the slower they responded, if at all. And as an experiment, I reached out to Kenny myself, and he responded like within 10 minutes of me messaging him.
Right.
And I was blown away. Like, yeah, he's probably the busiest drummer on the planet. And he just took time out of his day to reply to me. He doesn't know me from anybody.
Right. Well, yeah, and I think that's you might think like, oh, he's so busy, he didn't have time for people like me, right? But like the thing is, guys that are busy for a reason. And that story it was, yeah, the guy's name was Miguel. He's writing a book on Ringo. And he reached out to Aronoff, Greg Bissonette, and two other guys that were local LA guys, but I guess they were doing some stuff, but like I hadn't heard of them. And he said Kenny got back to him immediately. Greg got back to him within like an hour. And then like at the time that we had that coaching call, the other two hadn't gone back. Like, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Because I bet you they're probably thinking like, oh, I got to focus on getting work, or "Well, how's this going to benefit me?" And Greg wrote back and said, "Hey, I think this is a cool idea, but I don't do any like Ringo related stuff because I play with Ringo. So like I wouldn't, give you a quote for the book or anything like that. But I think it's cool. Like, good luck with it." And
Yeah.
then Kenny was like, "Oh, this sounds really cool. Yeah, let's like hit me up in a month. I'll be back in town." So again, like Greg's messaging him to tell him, I'm not interested ultimately, but still got right back to him. And it's like, yeah, because these guys just keep the thing moving.
Yeah. That story really had an impact on me because I have been guilty myself of being slow at getting back to people for whatever reason.
Right.
And just like you said a moment ago, like Kenny's busy, and he's busy because he responds to people immediately. Like his communication skills are like top notch. And so ever since then, I've been really purposefully getting back to people quickly. And that's how I get more drum students. That's how I get more recording clients. That's how I get more gigs. And that's how my life just keeps like expanding, is just those simple things.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I ended up doing the Minefield record with Brandon Fields, your buddy there, because he messaged me and said, "Hey, I'm doing this recording." At the time, it wasn't like a full-on record, I don't think.
Yeah.
But he said, "Jeremy Asbrock's playing guitar, and I wondered if you played drums on a song." He's like, "I already got a guy who's going to play on the other songs, but would you play on one song?" And I said, "Sure." And then, like, the next day, he was like, he goes, would you want to play in the whole thing?" And I said, "Yeah, I would. Why? What's up?" And he goes, "Well," he goes, "I got this other guy, but he's not getting back to me." He goes, "And your communication's like so great." He goes, "Let's just do it."
Yeah.
Like, okay.
There
So
you
I've
go.
had a number of examples like that where people at least commented on, the the communication and being on time and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But then also saying like, actually, you know what, it just felt really comfortable. So I want to redo the rest of the record or do more work with you.
Yeah. And it's a great record. And it sounds great too. And that was all done remotely, right?
Yeah, that was a COVID thing for sure. Like that was, we were not, I'd never met Brandon,
Yeah. Yeah.
since, but yeah.
All right. So Chip Ritter wants to know, Matt, how do you do so much without burning out? And I think burning out is a question that gets asked a lot of different people who are busy.
Yeah, I would say do what you like to do. Do what you love doing. Makes a big, people say, do what you love, you never work a day in your life. I mean,
Right.
yeah, it's true, you know? Yeah. Do what you like and what makes you happy, you know,
But
and
do
make
you
a
feel like you
living
get burned?
doing that.
Do you feel like you get burned out even though you're doing what you love?
I mean, I take pretty good again, but I don't drink, so I'm not
Mhm.
like destroying my myself that way.
Right.
Not really. I mean, I've had my wife has commented over the years. She's like, I don't know how you don't like. I don't know how you do all this. And we should. They came like we had a West Coast run with Ace, and we just rented an Escalade, me and the wife and kids, and just followed the band.
Uh-huh.
And after like 2 days, she's like, "This is awful." She goes, "I don't know how you do this." She's like, getting up and traveling and then driving for this long. And then she's like, and I go, "What? This is nothing." And
Yeah.
she's like, "This is terrible." She's like, "I could never do this." So that's something, I mean, again, I think your food is super important, not eating crap.
Yeah.
And, then alcohol, just watch it or don't do it at all. Drink a lot of water. Um, but also do things that are rejuvenating. I mean, the cigar is obviously not a healthy thing, but it's a relaxing activity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that makes a big difference. But this is something talking with Angus Clark, who I play in the Dio Rules band with, and he's in TSO and he's Trans-Siberian Orchestra. He's been doing that for over 2 decades, I think. And he just said, man, he goes, some people are just, what did he say? Indestructible was the word he used. And he's like, man, when you get around people that talk about like they get sick a lot and all, he goes, he just said,
Yeah.
like, I'm not gonna hire you. you know, it's like, yeah, right. Just keep going, man. Keep going.
Yeah.
So I think I got some sort of inner thing. But I love what I do. You know what I mean? I imagine if I worked in an office, have a like, you don't go to school, you get a stomach ache a lot.
Oh.
So it's like,
Well, I get asked all the time, like, because Tuesdays and Thursdays are both really long days for me. Because I get up really early to do the podcast, and then I start teaching by 1 o'clock Monday through Thursday. But Tuesday and Thursdays I teach till 9 o'clock at night,
mm, that's a
and
long day.
it is. But I'm at home doing that, so I'm not like at another location, right? Everybody comes to me, or I do something online, and people are like, "Don't you get tired of that?" I'm like, "Tired of playing the drums? Like
Right.
that doesn't." And then I always remind myself, like, I never know, like, am I teaching the next John Bonham? Am I teaching the next Alex Van Halen? Like,
Right.
where are these people going to go with their music? I have no idea. I'm here to help them learn the instrument and have a certain approach to playing music and appreciation for music. And of course, in as you've experienced, people have interest for a ton of different reasons. But it's like every half hour, it's like another rock star's walking through the door.
Right.
And who doesn't get tired of hanging out with rock stars? Like every Tuesday at this time, I'm going to see this person, and it's like it's to me, it's really exciting. So I don't get tired of that.
Right.
It's like
Right.
so you like I think I resonate with like, man, I'm doing what I'm loving. So am I really burned out? And like you're taking care of your health, right? Like you're not purposely being out of control with anything, and that's all good stuff. All right, before we wrap this up, Matt, can we talk about your dates that are about to happen with the knack?
Right.
The knack.
Yeah. Yeah. My Sharuna. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
It's awesome. I'm immersed in playing guitar and singing again, which is so exciting. So
Oh, you're playing guitar as well?
yeah, rhythm guitar. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So we're playing at the Canyon Club in Agoura Hills, California
Huh?
on
Yeah.
May 2nd. And then we're playing at the Stratosphere as part of their, I think it's like an 80s pool party thing in Vegas on June 6th.
80s pool party.
The producer's back.
I'm
Yeah,
back.
yeah,
Wow.
right.
Oh.
Yes.
That was so Mary, I don't know. Matt is going to be fronting the knack.
The knack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's like Is that weird to leave behind the drums and be on the front of the stage?
Not for me. I mean, I've done it for years,
Uh-huh.
and so I've done both plenty, so I'm actually looking forward to it. I'm like, oh, I got to get shoes now because like now people can actually see my shoes.
Okay. I got a thing with shoes, Matt.
He knows, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I think okay, well, what shoes did you
That's
get?
probably why he said he had to get shoes.
I don't think it's because of me.
Oh, okay.
I got well, like the Knack is not a sneaker band,
Yeah.
and I have a lot of nice shoes. I mean, you can kind of see them behind me, but there are all these Italian, like kind of fancy Euro vibey
Yeah.
shoes with the white soles and stuff. But that's not the Knack either. The Knack is like for shoes, or boots, some like a Beetle boot or something. So anyway, but I can't do heels. So I thought, you know what? Let me get a pair. I used to wear creepers back in the day,
I don't remember those.
and those, they kind of like, like a Stray Cats kind of vibe shoe.
Oh.
But I had a pair of like black and white ones, and they make them with like a low profile because usually the creepers are like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
They
Gotcha.
keel the whole way through. So anyway, I found a pair of like low, they're almost like sneakers as in the sole part. So
Uh-huh.
I'll look proper.
I you're on a stage and so your feet are kind of almost at eye level for people, right?
Right.
And so like your dishwasher post, my equivalent to the dishwasher post was like, you guys go and spend all this money on cool pants and a cool shirt or whatever, but your shoes suggest you're ready to mow the lawn at a moment's notice. And
Right.
I just I got attacked for that.
Well, I want to be comfortable, but they make comfortable shoes that are good looking.
Yes.
Yeah, there's no excuse to not look cool. And yeah, I mean, I completely agree with that. And
Yeah.
I mean, before, many years ago in my previous life, I mean, I would just look at somebody's shoes and just be like, I mean, you can tell a lot from a person. I always think of that too, like, because I remember Mr. Big went to Kuala Lumpur and they had all these, these Louis Vuitton bags and stuff. And so I had to like, they're all fakes. But I started to research and go, how can you tell? And I got some really good ones. They're really good. But like when I see someone with that bag, I go, you realize like a lot of people are fakes,
Right.
but I just would look at the shoes, because it's like, okay, you got a $3,000 bag, not with those shoes. No, that's not a real bag.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it could
Well,
be Converse. You could wear Converse, and but it's just how you do it. So yeah, shoes
right.
are very important. Very
Shoes are
important.
very important.
So with the Knack, where are you coming to Boise?
Say that one more time. You guys glitched on me one
Oh,
sec.
sorry. If when you're playing with the Knack, will you guys be coming to Boise?
I hope so. I hope we're going to be going everywhere. So basically, I've been friends with Prescott, the bass player, Prescott Niles, the original bass player. Cute little puppy dog-eyed guy on the cover with the curly hair. And so we've known each other for like 15 years. We met when I was working with Mike Chapman, producer with one of my bands. Mike produced the first two Knack records, as well as the Sweet and Blondie and everybody else. So we have a history there, and he's been wanting to do this because Doug Feiger, the singer, passed away in 2009. He's been wanting to do this, for a long time. It just felt like now's the time. And I think he said too when he called me about it, he's like, I've been thinking about it over the years, but I'm like, who would sing? It's got to be the right guy to do
Uh-huh.
that. But when he met me, I was singing and fronting and playing rhythm guitar and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And we played Sharona together a few times, over the years. And we did at Pat Torpy's memorial show in Los Angeles. Actually, he reminded me. I forgot about that. I remembered Pat's show for Pat, but I didn't remember playing. Anyway, yeah, so it's going to be fun. I'm excited, and obviously I'm honored. I mean, he's like, so the Knack, and I've been thinking about it for years, and I think it's like time. So but it was always like, who's the singer? The singer was always the linchpin, but and I just thought like Matt, like you. So I mean, what do you say? And I go, wait, what? Say this all again. I go, what are you asking me? Because I just assumed he was when he started talking. I'm like, oh, he wants me to play drums. But then he never said drums. He said singer. And so he's like, so what do you say? And I'm like, what are you asking me? Like, say it all again. He's like, I want you to be the singer. And I'm like, okay, short answer, yes. And then like, what are we doing? Anyway, so it's really exciting. We got a great band. The songs are freaking amazing. I mean, that band is so good. The songs are so great. So
Yeah.
hopefully, yeah, we're gonna do these 2 shows and just kind of get the thing up and running and like, proof of concept, and we'll
Yeah.
take it from there. But hopefully we'll be out everywhere. Yeah.
I would
Nice.
love to see that show.
Yeah.
I would love to see that show.
Yeah.
Like in person, I mean. Not
Yeah. Yeah.
not I mean, I'll watch the little clips that'll appear on
Of course.
Instagram or whatever, but that that's super cool, Matt. That's like I'm excited for you for that. That's really
Thank you. Yeah,
that's
my
gonna be
daughter was like, she goes, Mac. She goes, she's 10. She goes, that's a big band, right? I said,
Aw.
I go, yeah. I mean, like, yeah, they had a moment there where they were like number one ever. My Sharona, she's like, wow. She goes, that's a big band. I go, yeah, yeah. She goes, but like that's a big band for you. Like you really like them, right? Because we'll
Aw.
listen to music in the car, and sometimes I'll play the neck. So I
yeah.
said, yeah. She's like, wow. Like it was an interesting angle. Like she realized
Aw.
not, just said, "Oh, it's my Sharon. Oh, I know, I've heard of them." Not that vibe, but like this means a lot to you, and for
Right.
her to see that, like to see, oh, my dad listens to these guys, and now he's singing for him. Like, she made that connection, which I thought
Yeah.
was cool.
Do your kids really understand like what you do? Or they're just like, he's playing drums and dad's being dad, doing his
No,
dad.
I mean I've heard them say like, "Oh yeah, my dad's a rock star,"
Uh-huh.
so, but I don't know exactly. I don't know if they think like, Mr. Big is as big as Olivia Rodrigo. Like if they, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like those are two very different,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know. Although, will we be talking about her 40 years from now? I mean, I hope so for her sake, but you know what I mean? But like
Yeah.
there's different levels of stuff. But so I don't know how much they understand. I mean, but they kind of do think I just know everybody. She's like, well, do you know Olivia Rodrigo? Or do you know K-pop Demon Hunters? Like, do you know those girls? I'm like, well, I go, there's different scenes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I said, I probably know somebody who knows somebody. I said, I know Olivia's drummer. I said, but no, I don't, we don't all know each other's. But yeah, I mean, they understand. And I think for me, the most important thing is like, what does dad do for work? Like something most people do for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if I go, I got to go to work, my daughter's going like, oh, where are you flying to? And I'm like, oh, no, no, I'm just going to the studio. I'll be back like, at
Oh
dinner.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
But she just assumes like that's what you do.
Right. Yeah. Did you ever go to like one of your kids' school classes for career day or something?
I did. Yeah, yeah. I did
Okay.
last year. Yeah, it was
Nice.
it was it was cool. I almost sent 2 kids to the office because they kept talking. And I was like, I said, "Are you good, bro?" And I was like, "Hey, you know what? Why don't you come up and sit up front with me?" And so like, but I was one step away from being like, cool. So what's your name? Charles? Okay, Charles, I'm gonna have you go down to the principal and talk to them because I'm not gonna have you waste people's time talking in the middle of this thing. I didn't give a fuck about these kids. But anyway, no, but it worked out great. And then I would see parents around town and they would go, oh, great job on career day. Thanks a lot. Like, just being funny.
Right.
But no, I think it was cool. It was fun. And again, I think for the kids, not the music part. I mean, the music part's awesome. I'm excited about that, but everyone doesn't have to be excited about that. But just like I do what I was doing when I was your age when I came,
Yeah.
like I'd come home from school and jump around my room and pretend I was in Kiss,
Oh.
Yeah.
you know? And so like that's what I do. So if something makes you feel that way, it can be your life if you
Yeah.
want,
Yeah.
you
For
know?
me, it was like when I picked up drumsticks, I never put them down. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not like, not everybody has that, excuse me, where they fall in love so deeply with something. And for like, people are like, well, how long are you going to do this? Till I'm dead, till I
Right.
physically can't do it anymore. Like,
Like Peter Magadini.
yeah.
he
Yeah.
he played right up until he, well, like probably just within days of dying, I think.
I don't, are you familiar with who Peter Magadini was, Matt?
No.
So he was the drummer for Diana Ross and Al Jarreau. He was on the board of directors for Modern Drummer magazine, and
Okay. All right. Yeah, I do. I know the name now. Yeah.
so it kind of like the preeminent polyrhythm guy. Well, so during COVID, it was in around Thanksgiving of 20. I got this email from Peter Magadini, said, "Hey, I'm Peter Magadini. I'm in town. I found your website. Do you want to meet up?" I'm like, who's Peter
Yeah, we had to
Magadini?
do some research on
Yeah,
who
Right.
the scammer was.
yeah. So uh, I looked him up really quick and I responded. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So he came over and he sat right in here with me and Mary for about 3 hours and
Amazing.
talked about teaching. And I'm like, so what prompted you to reach out to me? And he's like, well, whenever I'm visiting a new town, I like to find out who the drum teachers are in town and see what they're up to and see if we could connect. And so we got to be really good friends. He ended up moving to Boise. He ended up being the adjunct professor for drum set at Boise State University. And he was playing jazz at like this high end steakhouse called Chandler's. And uh,
He wasn't here very long before I think he'd only been here for about a year, maybe
yeah,
year and a
Mm.
half when he got sick. He got cancer.
yeah, he discovered he had cancer and was gone pretty quick. But
Yeah.
Mm.
even like he was doing an online lesson with somebody while he's laying in bed, like the day before he passed away,
Yeah. He wanted to
teaching
make sure he
drums.
got all those things taken care of.
Yeah,
It's
it was
crazy.
really inspiring. So like, yeah, that's how long I'm going to play until I physically am not breathing anymore. That's how long I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Well, it says a lot too. I mean, the cat with that resume and all that stuff is still networking and like
Yeah,
reaching out to people and seeing what's
Yeah.
going on. I mean, that's really what life is all about, at
it
the
is.
end of it.
It is. Uh, Mary, do you have any other questions for Mr. Starr?
No, I think, did we get all the questions?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
well, did Jamie had asked about renting a kit versus using your own. I don't know, how often do you have to use a rent? I don't know if he's referring to
Probably backline.
tracking drums or if he's talking about touring. I
Yeah.
think touring.
Yeah. I mean, I think, yeah, with touring, it depends on the situation. When I first started with Ace, he had a truck with a driver and like we just left gear. And so like we had one show in Wisconsin. They had a guy drive from New York all the way to Wisconsin with the gear and back. So but
Oh,
most times these days, if you're doing flyouts, it's going to be backline, which is a local rental house.
Yeah,
And they'll bring the gear and you'll have, hopefully your specs, your brands and all that stuff.
oh.
Mm. If you're on a tour, like on a bus with trucks, then you're going to typically have the same stuff every night. But session work, yeah, I mean, I'll just do kind of whatever's easiest.
yeah,
All the studios I go to have Ludwigs, but sometimes I'll bring my kick drum, which is the big one,
Uh-huh.
or might bring my cymbals. But yeah, I think it doesn't matter to me. They're drums. We play drums. I play the drums.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and some people say, "How's that kid?" I go, "Is it drum shaped? Does it make drum sounds?" Like that's And I think when guys are, well, I didn't have my own kit. Stop. I was at a thing in New York with Carmine Appice, Carmine Appice, Carmine Appice, yeah, Carmine Appice, and he was there, and there was an MC and Carmine was sitting at that table, and the MC was like, "Hey, Carmine, play some drum, give us some rhythm or something like that." And there was some house music, and Carmine just played on the table, and it was nothing. It was just like, yeah. and he was so locked in to the groove on the
Yeah.
track. And I was like, he's not even thinking about this. He wasn't trying to show off. The guy was like, "Hey, Carmine's here. Carmine, how you doing? What's new for you? Okay, cool. Hey, give us some drums." Ba-ba-dee-ba-da-ba-dee-ba-da-ba-da. That was it.
Yeah.
But he was so locked. I go, "This is what we do. This, my hands hitting the table, or now I have a stick in my hand, and the stick is hitting it. That's it. It's like if you can't just sit there and play on your legs, play Highway to Hell and make it groove, ain't gonna get any better with drumsticks, dude. You know?
I have the same discussion sometimes with my students. They'll be like, "Oh, I was gone to my grandma's for the weekend, so I didn't practice." I'm like, "You can't go like this.
Yeah.
Right.
Drum
Yeah.
pads and sticks don't take up a
You could
lot of
take a
room.
screenshot
Right.
of your assignment and play on your like you are a drum set."
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
So yeah, I mean, to that question about backlight, probably more times than not, I'm using someone else's gear. But again, if someone's uncomfortable with it, just stop making excuses. Just play the drums.
Yeah.
yeah. I
You're
have
good.
one final question, I think, Matt, unless something else pops in my head. Black Beauty or Superphonic?
Ooh.
Oh, Black Beauty, although they're both great, and
Yeah.
Ludwig snare drums are the best, absolute best. But yeah, the Black Beauty is funny. I just did a session at Jack Daly's place. Jack plays with Spin Doctors, and he was with Lenny Kravitz for many years. And he's got a space in Asbury Park. And I was producing this artist, Matt Portella, and Aaron was from the Spin Doctors was tracking, so the drums were all set because I've been tracking drums all week. I was like, oh great. So they're already set up. Say this old Ludwig kit. I'm like, cool. And had the Black Beauty there. And he goes, I probably should get a Superphonic too. And I was like, well, I said, it's a different sound, but the brass in the Black Beauty is like makes it a little more rich,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. Um, so for me, if I have to choose Beauty, but if I have to choose Superphonic over anything else, then I'll take that over pretty
I
much
don't
anything else.
have a Black Beauty, but I do have a Superphonic, and I use it to record with quite often because it just
Yeah,
sounds so good. So,
right.
I did a show a few months ago about how to tell your wife you need more gear. So,
How'd that go? Well, she's
well,
laughing, so I guess
I don't have
it
the
went
Black
okay.
Beauty yet.
You
Right.
haven't asked for it.
Oh,
See, there you go.
let's go shopping, babe.
Yeah.
And I need a new pair of shoes to go with that
Let's
Black
hit the
Beauty.
pawn shops and see if somebody got rid of it, not realizing what
Oh,
they had.
I'm always in the market.
Oh yeah, I went to Guitar Center in Hollywood, and the head of the drum department guy was like, he goes, "Hey, check that out." It was a '70s Black Beauty, and I was like, "Oh," I go, "Nice." He goes, "Guy just came in here, just can't left as you walked in. Said, how much would you give me for this?" And he's like 2,000 ish or 1,700, whatever. He goes, "We got 20 of my."
What?
And guy's like, "What?" Guy, the guy, not guy, but the guy
Yeah.
went into like a thrift shop and saw these drum shaped things in these canvas bags, and he's
Oh
like,
my
those
gosh.
look like drums. And he opened one up, and he's like, oh, like a Ludwig, I've heard of this. Like, these look kind of old. Like, okay, 20 Black Beauties for like 20, $30 a piece.
No.
Whoa.
Yeah, crazy. I'm like,
I've never
where
that
what
kind of I never had those experiences.
like
You gotta be in the
which
right place at the right time.
which direction did this guy go again?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, just take one.
Yeah.
Oh
So
man.
yeah, you never know.
Matt, brother, thank you so much for doing the show today. I really appreciate
Yes, thank you.
your extensive time hanging out.
My
And
pleasure.
I just want to say to anybody out there that's watching or watching on the replay, like, if you need help in your music career, Matt's the guy to consult. 100%.
Matt Starr Coaching.
MattStarrCoaching.com
is the place. Is that where they should connect with you, Matt, if they're serious about coaching?
Yeah, that's fine. That's easiest, and then you can see some of the coaching stuff. But they can, people message me on Instagram or Facebook too. I'm totally accessible. So
Yeah.
I get back to you right away. So just reach out to me and I'll get back to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, Matt, hang on for 1 second as we end this, because I'll help you out with one thing. And then James says he got his 1927 Black Beauty in a music pawn shop.
See, I said
Wow.
pawn shop.
I'm surrounded by people with Black Beauties, Mary. I need to be in the club.
James.
Right.
I need to be in the club.
Did you say James Harrison or James Lancaster?
Harrison.
Oh,
But
okay.
it wouldn't surprise me if Lancaster had one too. That guy's got everything. So
The awesome guitar player who likes to be referred to as a drummer.
yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah. Honorary drummer.
Yeah.
He loves drums the
Walking into his studio is like walking into Guitar
most.
Center.
You don't want to leave.
Yeah. It's just like, oh, I like this place. I'm never leaving.
Yeah. Nice.
Thank you, Matt, so much. I really appreciate it,
you.
man.
Thanks,
And,
you guys. Good to see everybody.
all right.